Welcome back to Hannity. So yesterday, as you know, we traveled to Florida to interview the king of talk radio, one of the conservative thought leaders in the country for the last 30 years, Rush Limbaugh. And here's part two of our exclusive interview. I talked to friends that I know. They'll sit in closed-door meetings with the Senate.
Right.
And you got a bunch of senators in there. I'll name names: Ben Sasse, John McCain, others, openly hostile towards the president, which raises a question. I've always kind of viewed myself as a Reagan conservative. I remember you teaching people about Reagan and taxes and Kennedy and taxes and playing old clips of these things. And I remember it worked. You just mentioned Reagan. It worked. What do they stand for if they're not going to stand for repeal, replace, in this economic plan? And do you believe they really want this plan to go through, or are they setting the country up for yet another failure?
Well, intelligence guided by experience. They've introduced it just like they did Obamacare. Let's see how tough, how far they take this, how much they fight for it, or whether they just want to try to get the credit for proposing it. But to answer your question, it goes back, I think, to election night. They didn't expect Trump to win, and they weren't prepared for Trump to win, and they're still unhappy that Trump won. And I think the real answer to your question is Washington establishment, both parties. It's a small club. It's elite. You can't get in it because you want to get in it. It's they don't have a clubhouse. But Trump would never be admitted in this club, no matter what he did. These guys have been running the country. It's donors. It's think tanks. It's the whole Washington media, the whole establishment. Trump's an outsider. They have been managing the country, ruling the country for however many decades. They can't afford for an outsider neophyte to come in and redo everything, fix things in 3 months, fix things in a year, show that it can be done, show that an outsider can do it, show that what they say can't be done can be done. I think they're petrified, and they're all united, Republicans and Democrats, it's not just the Senate, in making sure that Trump, the outsider, doesn't succeed with his agenda.
Don't they pay a price? They made these promises themselves.
It goes back, here's the thing. You tell me. I mean, you're closer to these people on a daily basis than I am. Who are they loyal to? They're donors. The donors matter more than their voters. Obviously, this Obamacare thing, who doesn't want Obamacare gotten rid of? The insurance companies, probably the Chamber of Commerce, any number of usual big donors, and the people who really write the legislation in Washington on K Street. They don't want it done away with.
But Rush Limbaugh fans that have been dedicated to you for all these years, what, you're 30 years now on the radio.
29 and counting.
All right, 29 and counting. They're listening to this. They got everything they want. House, Senate, and a president that wants to do these things.
Right.
I'm deflated at times. I'm deflated they couldn't get health care done. I'm like, seriously, after 7 years? You can't get this done?
Well, look, I'm deflated too, but I'm more angry about it. But I think I understand it. Look at Alabama. The answer to this is what happened in Alabama in terms of the voters. Everybody is saying that that vote in Alabama was an indication that Trump's base is leaving him. That's what they want. Everybody is trying to make sure that Trump's base leaves him because they can't cause it. They've been trying to do that since before he was inaugurated. Only Trump can destroy that relationship, but they're trying. So Trump endorses the wrong guy as far as his voters are concerned. What do? They elect the right guy, but they don't abandon Trump. They had his back on that vote. They are so invested in Trump because he's the only way what they believe can happen. They're not going to abandon Trump. Even when he makes a mistake, they're going to have his back. All these stories, Trump was livid, Trump was angry, that maybe so, but he should be very thankful that his voters are sophisticated enough to understand that they're going to do everything they can to help him move his agenda forward. And that's what that Alabama vote was about.
I think more than any other person in America, you define conservatism, Reagan conservatism. Now we keep hearing, well, this is nationalism, populism. I look at the president's agenda. I have some disagreements, not many. I think he's got a strong agenda of growth. It would be good for the originalists on the court. Securing the border. You talk about national populism versus conservatism a lot. Do you see his agenda as conservative, national populism? Is there a conflict?
I don't think the president is ideological.
Yeah.
And I've said this a number of times. When he sees Chuck Schumer, he doesn't see the guy we see. He just sees a typical New Yorker, maybe dumb and stupid, but he doesn't see leftist SOB, whoever. He doesn't see that.
We see it that way. Yeah.
He doesn't see it. But there's not a criticism. I mean, not everybody's ideological. The best definition of populism versus conservatism is this tax plan. This tax plan is pure populism. It is put together on the belief, which is a Democrat Party belief, that a majority of Americans want the rich punished, or that a majority of Americans want the rich not to benefit when they do. That's a Democrat Party class envy argument. If what I'm told is true, and if the president is the reason upper brackets are not going to get any relief, then it's pure populism. He's simply saying, where is the majority of people that I can get the most support from? And he's making a calculation that there are far more people in middle class than there are in the 1%, which is an easy calculation to make. The conservative, and I don't even mean pure, the conservative philosophy of this across the board, no class envy, talk about how great America is, talk about how this will spur economic growth, which will benefit everybody. You don't make victims out of some and demons out of other. You look at the country as one giant economic engine that you have to ignite. But if you're going to leave people out of your primary effort to cause growth, then that's populism. That's not conservative. On individual Trump policies, the immigration, he's instinctively conservative on a lot of things. Whether he sits in his office and says, I'm going to go conservative on this, I don't think that happens. His instincts, his heart, 95% right there.
I agree. So really, if you go to 7 brackets to 3, you simplify the tax code, 15, 20% corporate rate, repatriation. I love his energy plan, energy independence. That's going to create a lot of jobs, in my opinion. And so the real missing ingredient is he's just bought into, well, we have to still tax the rich more. They've got enough. That's the missing part of, say, the Reagan formula.
Right. Well, but see, that's a liberal argument, that they've got enough. Whose business is it to decide who has enough? When especially you're going to say we have to find a way to pay for this. Who's we? Government? Why can't government do with $1 less next year? When they demand more from us, we can't say, no, we can't afford it. Out of here. They demand it. They take it. They got a giant collection agency. They never do it. Sean, we have however many years that you and I have been doing this. The budget's never gotten smaller. The deficit over time has gone up and down, but the national debt keeps growing. Doesn't matter which party's in power. 535 people, and however many people in the bureaucracy, are ruining this country. Not us. We're doing our best. We're doing everything we can. We elect the people we think, based on what they say to us, are honest and agree with us. But at the end of the day, all of this rhetoric about reducing the deficit, reducing the national debt, making government smaller, more efficient, it never happens.